To make this cute polar bear keychain is a pretty fast process. It'll take you maybe 30-40 minutes max. These are the materials that you'll need to make the polar bear. A small ball of white yarn, very small amount of black yarn to embroider the nose, your safety eyes. I'm using 16mm safety eyes and an auxiliary tool to attach the eyes to it. I have my Fiskars scissors, are very sharp and perfect to use for this kind of thing. A darning needle. I have my circular knitting machine journal for my notes, and then I have my 22-pin Addi knitting machine. Also, you could use a 22-pin Sentro or any 22-pin machine that you have. It's all you need to get started to make this cute polar bear keychain. Cast on with your white yarn. Go between the white and the black pin. Set your counter to 0. Leave about 6 inches to 8 inches in between the white and black pin right here where the black pin is next to the yarn feeder, and go around counterclockwise, going from the inside of a pin to the outside of a pin. Every other one, inside, outside. Yeah, all the way around your 22-pin machine to cast on to make your polar bear keychain. And on the 22-pin Addi, you want to stay pretty loose tension. Open your yarn feeder, put your yarn into the tension holder, and go around your main color. For the head, you're going to do 25 rows. At the end of 25 rows, cut your yarn, leaving about 1 foot, maybe 18 inches. Grab your darning needle. We will start casting off. Open your yarn feeder, release the yarn, thread your needle, and with the yarn inside the white pin, but not on the black pin, crank around a few of the pins. Now what you have here are these loops left onto your machine. If they come off of these little red pins, that will be a drop stitch. Therefore, I like to put my finger onto the next loop as I'm working the loop where I'm picking it up with my needle to prevent any sort of dropped stitch, like so. And this is how we cast off. And we'll continue doing this all the way around until all of the loops are off of the machine, and then you'll be able to take the whole project off of your knitting machine. We can see how we cast off here, where we put the needle between the two little red teeth and pick up that loop in order to cast off. And I'm using my fingers to hold in place the next loop to prevent it from dropping off of the machine, because it does happen sometimes. And we'll just continue this method of casting off all the way around. I've picked up the last loop here, and now you can take the project off of your machine. And this is going to be the head. Before we start working on the head, let's go ahead and knit the 2 ears. Grab your white yarn again. Using the same method to cast on, remember to reset your counter to 0 first before you cast on. And you're going to cast on the same way, and we're going to knit 2 ears, 5 rows each. Grab your scissors and cut the same amount of length as you did before for the head. And the cast off method is going to be the exact same as the head. You pick up every loop with your needle. So do this twice for your ears, and then we'll work on shaping the head and shaping the ears and putting it together. When it comes off the machine, it may look like a big mess like so. Keep hold of the 2 yarn ends, pull on it, and it's going to start shaping. You just have to unravel it and try to make sure that the purl side's in and it side's out. You can see here that it's trying to do the opposite. And so you might have to struggle with it a little bit, and that's okay. I'll just show you my process so you can see what I do to get it the right side out. And what you'll end up for the ears are these cute little balls almost. When you cinch down the 2 ends, you'll have these 2 little tiny little balls, which are going to be the ears that we sew on to the head. That's how we shape the ears. And what we'll do is secure each end to make sure it doesn't come undone and those holes stayed closed. And then use your long tails to sew it onto the head once that's done. For the head, I've got this longer piece. You'll take one end and put it inside, fold it inside, just like you would a beanie. Grab your yarn end. Starting from the inside, pull on the yarn end to close up the hole, close up that tube. Okay, and now grab the outside yarn end to close up that tube. And now you'll tie those 2 ends together as tight as you can without breaking the yarn in order to close up that hole. What I like to do usually to secure it a little extra is draw both ends in, not through the center of the circle, but actually just on the outside here, like so. You'll see it coming through here because you can see there's a little bit of a gap there. And I like to remove just one of the yarn ends from the needle and leave the other one on there. So now you still have one attached to the needle. And I'll go to the other side of the hole and just pick up a few of those loops and go through it with my needle. And now I'll just tie that together to doubly secure it. And this is now going to be the inside of my polar bear keychain. Now you have something that looks like that. Grab your keychain next. Grab one of the yarn ends and thread your needle. Come back up to the top of your polar bear's head. And here's our keychain. We will Go through that keychain and back down the other side of the head. Tie it. Do that a few more times. I don't tie it every time, I just tie it at least at the beginning and then at the end. Once you have it a few times over to make sure you've really secured your keychain onto the top of your polar bear, now you can knot the ends securely, and I will cut them because I am going to use one of the ends to cinch the bottom of the polar bear. Next, we will place the eyes and the mouth. For the eyes, I'm using these black 16mm eyes, and their backings look like this. Pick a spot where you think the eyes would look good and just see if that's where you'd want it. What we can do as well is cinch the bottom of the polar bear first so you can really shape the eyes. Show you how we do that. Grab your longer yarn end that you cut off, stretch out the base of your polar bear, try to find those bottom stitches. Grab any two randomly, pick two, and what we'll do is pull the yarn through, leaving a tail, and you're going to skip 2 loops, pick up a stitch, skip 2, pick up 2, skip 2, pick up 2, skip 2, pick up 2, 2, pick up 2. Continue doing this all the way around to create a drawstring for the base of your polar bear so we can cinch it up and shape its face a little easier. And what you'll find is when you get to the end, you'll have only 2 loops left. So only go through 1 now, skip 1, and then the goal is to go through the same hole that you started in. So that'll be your bear's face. Now you can have a little easier idea of where you think your eyes want to be. Once you've decided where to place the eyes, you will put the backing on the back of it. To do so, turn your bear's face inside out. Place your safety eye backing there. If you need it, use a auxiliary tool to attach it to save your fingers from pressure on it. Now grab the backing for your other eye once you have it where you like it, and also attach that one to the back as well. There you have your eyes are attached. Grab your black yarn so we can embroider the mouth. Cut about 12 to 16 inches off because you'll need the extra yarn to do the nose as well. Turning on the inside, place your needle in. And just tie the inside together to prevent it from coming out. And I'm going to leave that inside. And there you have your little bear nose. Let's attach the ears next. Grab one of your little ear balls. First, we need to secure the ear ends. It doesn't come apart. You can see last time we left it, it had that bit of a hole. I'm going to go through and put a couple knots there. Make sure it doesn't undo itself. I'm just going to go through a few loops to secure it and then bring it in through the middle to the other side of the ear, or I will knot it to that other end, and this will be the end that I attach to the bear's head. You can cut one end if you like. Grab your bear head. Our ears are going to go just above the eyes to the side, so it'll look like this. Now, to sew the ears on, you'll just go through, and it's always easier when you don't have the stuffing in the center, because now you can go through the center, pull it in, and be able to easier sew the ear on to the head, because you can work on the inside now and be able to get your stitches lined up. So I have this side. I'm going to pull the ear, going through the hole right above it, and then I'm going to go through this hole we started in again and continue just securing it to that spot. Then I might pass through a few more times and knot it to get that ear on there, and we'll do the same on the other side. Grab your stuffing or your yarn scraps. I'm actually going to use some yarn scraps in here first to stuff it, and then a little more of the stuffing to fill it in at the bottom. Start tightening your drawstring that you created. It's going to have a big hole at the bottom, so what I'll show you is how to close up that gap. So just tie it. You will have a gap there, as you can see. That's okay. I'll show you how we close that up. Grab your darning needle and the yarn end, thread that in there. Now go across from it and pick up as many loops as you'd like. Try to pick up a lot to close up this bottom with a minimal hole. And now tie those two ends together again, tight without breaking the yarn. You can see it's closing up the hole there. I'm going to do it one more time. tie that in, and the last step is to grab your darning needle and these yarn ends and place it inside the bear to hide them, and then you can cut them after that. So I just go inside here, out through the side somewhere, and grab your scissors and pull on them a little bit, and there you have your keychain polar bear.